welcome back to my channel. Today is a very special day because today marks 5 years that I've been in the real estate business, and the reason that I believe that's something to celebrate is because statistically 90% of everyone that becomes a real estate agent and gets their license is out of the business and fails within the first 5 years. So today I'm going to share 5 tips, that 5 things I've learned my first 5 years, 5 things that I did that I believe have helped me not become a statistic. And if I talk fast, I apologize. I have to pee literally so bad. And we're going to talk about everything, but the first one we're going to talk about is money management. I used to look at my taxes, and by the way, if you are not familiar with real estate, if you're new to the business or thinking about getting into the business, you might not know this, but when you're a real estate agent, you don't get money taken out of your commission checks for taxes. So you have to put aside at least 30% of every single deal that you do, every check you get, and save it for taxes, because you pay a lot of taxes as a realtor. Any business owner does, and you don't get it taken out. So you really have to be mindful about that. But speaking of taxes, I used to get my taxes and see what I made and be like, what the heck? I made this amount of money and I have no money. I don't know where all of it went. I have no clue how I made this amount, but I have nothing. And I think that a lot of real estate agents are in the same boat, and that's how it is for them, or anyone that's in a commission only job. And what I started doing, I actually learned this at a Keller Williams conference. Don't know why I was there, because I've never been with Keller Williams, but I was randomly at a conference one day with them, and what they talked about, money management, really has helped my husband and I be able to save the majority of our income while also still living in a way that feels very financially free and not like restricted. And that is paying yourself first. And what I mean by that is having a set amount that you want to make each month. So we each have a certain amount that we want to make each month or have to live off of. We pay ourselves that, and then after that, every dime we make after that from any source of income goes into a separate account that we cannot touch. It's just for saving, future investments, whatever, but we can't touch it. But we pay ourselves first from that account, if that makes sense. So the amount that you pay yourself is obviously going to be determined by how much you're making and where you're at in your business and how much you want to live off of and spend at this point in your life. But that is my first tip to help not get in that hole where you get to the end of the year and you have no money, even though you made a good amount of money and you don't know where it even went. So that's a tip for money management. It can be hard managing money when you don't have a set income and every month looks different, but that tip has helped us both so much. The next thing that I've learned, in order to be successful in this business, you cannot have a plan B. I remember when I decided I wanted to be a real estate agent, it was during my senior year of high school, and we had to go through these like exit interviews and talk to the teachers about what we wanted to do or what we planned on doing after high school. And I said I wanted to be a real estate agent, and that's what I was going to real estate school at the time. And they were all saying I needed to redo my interview because I needed a plan B, because that wasn't realistic. And I just wanted to say I completely disagree with that statement. I think that if you have a plan B, then when things get really hard and you are in a season of really having to hustle in your business when you first start out, because that's really how it starts out, you'll probably just fall back on your plan B and you won't just push forward and do everything it takes, because it is possible, it is doable to be a successful realtor even at a young age. But having a plan B is just a distraction from plan A, in my opinion. And I'm very thankful I didn't have a plan B, because then I would have maybe not worked so hard or had something to fall back on. And it is possible, but having a plan B in my mind is not a good idea. The next thing I've learned in my 5 years in real estate is to not give up when things get tough. And I have a photo. I hope I can find it on the internet. I'm going to try to find it and put it here. But this photo has spoken to me when I really needed it. When I really needed to see this photo, I randomly came across it and it really helped. And it's funny because this photo has literally been how it works, or how it has worked for me every time in my business, where when I was first starting out, now we have systems, we've got like things are different, but when you're first starting out, the first couple years, you will have times when you are thinking, all my efforts are going towards nothing. I've been doing so much prospecting and I'm not seeing anything in return. And literally how it's worked every time has been where when we're at the point where we're about to give up, I feel like I've done everything, I feel like nothing's working, and I want to turn around and go the other way and just stop. Like literally, that's when things change. Like literally, that's when we get a breakthrough in our business. And so during the first couple years, this photo really helped me a lot. It spoke to me a lot because there were times when I wanted to give up, but if you just keep going, it will pay off. This business does get better and easier over time, and it gets easier to get clients over time. It is like a long game, not a short game. So hopefully that picture helps someone else as well. Okay, my next tip is you have to believe first and see later. So what I mean by that is you must have the ability when you're door knocking or cold calling or doing whatever form of prospecting it is that you're doing, you have to have the ability when it isn't paying off to believe that it will, because success leaves clues. And if you take the right steps and do the right actions in this business, if you're prospecting consistently, you will see results. There's no way you can fail and do that. But you're gonna have to sometimes do it with your eyes closed, because there's gonna be times before your business really takes off when it's gonna feel like you're doing so much work and you're not seeing results yet. But you have to just keep going and trust that you're doing it for a reason. Believe first, see later. Believe that you're doing the right things and you will see the results later, because you will if you keep going. Next thing I've learned, this is really big, is there will be times when you show a house to, you show 10 different houses to a client, or you for sure got a listing and you put all this work in for them, and then the buyer goes and buys with someone else, or they do an under the table deal and buy a house without involving you, or they just decide not to buy anymore, or you just don't get the listing for some reason, and you are going to be tempted to say that I just wasted time. I just wasted all this time, and you have to cancel that sentence from your vocabulary. Obviously there are things you can do to prevent that from happening, and obviously the longer you're in the business, hopefully the less and less amount of times those things will happen and it won't be a thing as much. But especially when you're starting out, it's inevitable. You're gonna have times when you're tempted to say, wow, I just wasted all this time. But that's just part of the business. That's part of running your own business. Just be thankful you're not in a 9-to-5. That's just how things work. And really the way I see it is you have to find the good in it. You have to find a lesson. You have to say, instead of saying I just wasted my time showing all these houses and didn't get a paycheck, you have to think, what did I learn from this? I'm so much more knowledgeable about the market after previewing all these houses. You really have to see the good, or you will drive yourself crazy and get out of this business, because that's just how things work sometimes. And also the way I see it is, yes, it is rare, but you do occasionally get those times where out of nowhere you get a buyer and you show them one house and then they make an offer and then it's the easiest transaction ever, or you call one cold call and get a listing. And yeah, those things don't happen often, but you didn't deserve those either. And the way I see it is, when those amazing good breaks happen, it kind of makes up for and evens it out for when you wasted all this time with a client that didn't end up working with you. I hope that made sense how I explained that, but erase those words from your vocabulary of wasting your time. Nothing's a waste. You have to see it as a learning experience, especially when you're starting out. The last thing that I've learned is that you really can have work-life balance. I know that goes against everything that I hear any other realtor on YouTube say, but that is the theme that is interwoven into so many of our videos on this channel. So if you want to learn more about how you can actually make more and work less and live that life, then keep watching our videos, because this really is true and it's something that we want people to know. And when you first start out, you're going to be working a lot. You're probably going to be working more than a 9-to-5. Even though a lot of people get into the business for freedom, you're probably going to have less freedom when you first start out, because you're really going to have to hustle. But I remember when I was first starting out, my biggest motivation, my why, what made me work so hard and prospect so much and not mind it at all was having that vision of knowing that in a few years from now, I'm going to have the freedom and ability to work a lot less and still make a great living and enjoy my life, if that makes sense. So that was my motivation for working so hard in the beginning, was knowing that later on I would be able to have created this business that would be much more passive, if you will. So the goal of this business isn't to continue working that many hours forever. You have to be intentional about it in order to be able to make this work. But it is possible to have work-life balance and not be working all the time. So that is it. Those are my 5 things I've learned in the last 5 years of being a real estate agent. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. And if you're a realtor and you live outside of the state of Oregon and you have a client relocating to Oregon, send them my way. I'd love to give you a referral fee. And if you're watching this video and you're not a realtor, hello, and you are thinking about making a move anywhere in the world, contact me. I'd love to set you up with a solid realtor in your area. I have connections to real estate agents all over the world and would love to help you out. That being said, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.